Okay, welcome back everyone. So let's start the next lecture. So in the last lecture, we have talked about the data types and just a small recap of the data types and continue from here. So we have talked about the data types. So these are the data types majorly used in a Oracle. First is a char. We know it's for the character data type, fixed length, maximum size 2000 characters. Varchar2, variable length character, maximum size 4000 character. But what if I have something which is more than 4000 character? So for that, we go for the data type called as a long. Long is a variable length alphanumeric data type which can store up till 2 GB in the length. Then we have talked about the number. We have already discussed the number. Number we can use for integer, fixed decimal, or floating point decimal. Then the date. Date is used for storing the date value. For the date, we do have timestamp as well. So timestamp is nothing but if you want to store the date up till the seconds, we can use a data type called as a timestamp. Now, sometime what happened that a data is neither a character nor a number nor a date. So in that case, we take a help of lob. Lob is a long object. In the lob, we have two types of lobs. One is a C lob and one is a B lob. C lob represent character long object and B lob represent binary long object. So C lob is used for storing the data which is more than 2 GB because the size of the C lob is a 4 GB. It's a character data. If I want to store as a lob, then we can go for the C lob. And B lob is a data type where we use the data in a binary format that is specially used for those type of data which is like a picture, videos, audios, or you can say which is not number, character, or a date. That is a B lob. Now, simply we know what the data type is. So we are ready for creating our table. So in creating a table, we need a 4-piece of information, which we have already discussed. One is a table name. Now we can get it from the entity. Second, attributes. We can use them for a column names. Third, data type. So now we are aware about the data type, so we can go for the data type as well. And finally, the size. Size is depending on the data type as well as our requirement. What's the meaning of that? Varchar2 can have maximum 4000, but we choose only that much as much as we required. Simple. So let's now create our first table. And for practically creating a table, I'm using Oracle 11G Express Edition. If you want to practice at your side, you should be downloading the Oracle 11G Express Edition and you can practice on the same thing what we are learning in the lecture. Okay, so let me start Oracle 11G first. Hold a moment. So when we are using the Oracle 11G, there are the two tools get installed along with it. One is called as Apex, Application Express, and second is called as SQL Plus. SQL Plus is used for DOS-based communication with the Oracle. And third, if you want to use as a GUI or something, you can download SQL Developer. SQL Developer is also available. Okay, just it's taking a time, so please hold, bear with me. Let me start that first. Okay, so it is starting now. So application Express I have been started, which is a web-based application. Okay, so this is a first screen of our Oracle database XE. XE is nothing but a Express edition. Now here we are using the application Express. So I click on the application Express. So initial login is always done with the help of a user called as system. And the password you have to provide what you give at the time of installation. In my case, I'm giving my password here and I say the login. Okay. This will be the second screen. Here, first you have to create a workspace. For workspace means what? Each user in Oracle database given a separate workspace. So his objects are get created in that particular workspace. For that purpose, you have to provide a database username, which is valid for communicating to the Oracle database. Application Express username, which is valid only for this particular application. And the password, confirm the password and say create workspace. This has to be done only once. Once it is done, for the next subsequent time, you have to choose already have an account. So I'm not creating because I have already been created. So I use already have an account. I click on this. Now it is asking me the three things. Workspace. That workspace is nothing but a database user name. Username is nothing but a application express user name and the password. Now password what we have given at the time of creating the workspace. So I put a password here. Okay, so this is the screen what we get after login to our workspace. So here now we have to click on SQL workspace and SQL commands. So this is the place or a window where we can write our SQL statement or a SQL queries. So let's move there now. So our first task is to create a table. Creating a table practically is a very simplest thing. Just you have to understand the syntax properly. Once you know the syntax properly, it is very simple. So now one example is given to here. Create table, table name. You know the rules of giving the table name. Then the bracket starts, or you can say parenthesis. Then the column 1, give a appropriate data type and size. separated by comma, column 2, appropriate data type and the size. Up till the last column, data type and size. Simple. So let's create our actual table here. So let's say we want to create a table called as student. Okay, so we are going to create a table called a student. So for creating a student, what is needed? 4 pieces of information: name of the table, name of the column, data type, and their size. So now we know the name of the table. So syntax will be create. One thing, SQL is not a case sensitive language. SQL is not a case sensitive language. You can write either in uppercase or in lowercase, meaning will remain the same. So syntax, let's start again. Create table. Simple. Then we have to give a table name. Okay, so let's say I'm giving a table name as 2021 student. Now here, this name will not be accepted just because we have started with numeric character. So it is not allowed. So we are just removing this. So we say create table, table name students. Okay, and then you have to write a, sorry. Then we have to use a bracket. And in the bracket, you have to choose the columns. So what we can store for the students now? First thing, roll number. So we can say roll number. What should be the data type? We are going to store numeric value for the roll number. So it will be the number. NUMBER. Then in the bracket, we have to provide precision and scale. Now number, we are not going to use in a fraction. So it will be the integer. So we have to give only the precision. Okay, so I'm giving the size as 3. Now this is the first column, comma. Let's say the second column. What will be the second column? Name. So we give it here data type. Name will be the fixed length or a variable length. Obviously the variable length, because everybody's name will have a different number of characters. So we can choose a data type cat2 and give a size. Now what is the meaning of the size here? Maximum how much it should be accepted. So maximum here I'm giving 20. I close it. What extra thing we can store here? Age. Age will also be the numeric value. Number, I give it as a 3. After the age, let's say we want to store the gender as well. Gender, what will be the data type? Gender is a fixed length, either M or a F. So we can choose a data type cat. And I give it here as a 1, because 1 is sufficient for describing the gender. I close it. After the gender, let's say I want to store the date of birth, DOB. Okay, now DOB is going to store a date of his date of birth or her date of birth. So the data type will be now date. Now date is a special data type. We should not provide any size. Now let's say we have created 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 columns. That's it. Just close it. Now make a habit that you should follow it by semicolons. Semicolon says that you have finished it. But here, even if I'm not using the semicolon, it will work. But when there's a DOS communicator, you have to give a semicolon to indicate that your syntax is over. Here, whatever I'm selecting is considered a one syntax. Then we have to use run. So I'm using the run. I got an error. I'm sure you are able to see the error here. Name is already used by an existing object. As I told you that one name can be used only once in the workspace. That's why I was giving the name as 2021. But it was not accepting the 2021 because name of the table cannot start with numeric number. But we can give the 2021 as a part of this. That is allowed. So simply, now if I execute, we got a message, table created. It's so simple to create a table. But now, how to check whether my table is created properly or not? Very simple here. We have created a table, but we don't know how to check. So always whenever you create a table, you can take a help of describe command. Describe command help you to describe the structure what you have been created. So I want to check the structure of students 2021. So I say describe. Either I can write a complete describe or I can use a abbreviation. Abbreviation is always a first 4 character. So here I say describe, I execute it here. And it is showing me the description of our table. Table name, columns, their data types, length, position, scale, everything is given. Very simple. So creating a table is the simplest task. But now, what if we have been asked to create a duplicate structure? Duplicate structure of existing table. Now, for example, I have one table called as Bollywood. This is my table. And this I want to create as a Bollywood 2021 as a new table, which should have a copy of this particular structure. So a table can be created in two ways. One, the syntax, what we have been used, and second syntax is called as copying the structure. So we say create table, new table. What we want to create? We want to create a Bollywood 2021. Then we have to use a keyword as. Okay, now you can see the difference. Till here, it is same. But here, we have provided a structure. What columns will be there? Here, we are not providing the structure. We are using a create table, table name as, and you have to use a syntax which almost everybody knows who have heard the word SQL. And that syntax is select star from table name. I'm sure everybody knows the select star from table name. So you have to use it here as select star from. After the from, you have to choose that table from where you want to copy the structure. So कहाँ से structure copy करना है हमको? Bollywood से. So we'll say here from Bollywood. And now if I execute this, I got a message, table created. You can see we have not provided any structure for the table, but table got created. Simple. So what will be the structure of this Bollywood 2021? Same as a Bollywood. So here, now if I describe Bollywood 2021, and if I execute, sorry, I made a spelling mistake here. You can see that same structure is created in new table. Very simple here. Now, let's talk about a small thing about select. What do you mean by this select statement? If I use this, a select statement, select star from Bollywood. What's the meaning of this? In roughly we can say right now, because we're going to discuss a select statement in a detail afterwards. Select statement is used for retrieving the data from the table. Correct? So if I execute, what will I get? All available records in the table. Okay, so these are the records we already have in the Bollywood table. But what if I say select star from Bollywood 2021? This is the table just now we have created. We have not inserted any records here till now. But still, I'm getting a records here. Why is that so? Because this create table name as is always copy all the records also in the new table which has been selected by select statement. इस स्टेटमेंट ने जितने रिकॉर्ड सिलेक्ट किए उतने ही रिकॉर्ड इसमें कॉपी भी हुए. मतलब ये सिर्फ टेबल क्रिएट नहीं करता है, बट ये पूरा का पूरा टेबल कॉपी करता है. ओके, दैट्स आल्सो नॉट करेक्ट, बिकॉज it is going to copy only those records which is selected by select star from statement. Simple here. Now, let's say if we have been asked, or before going that, let me ask you a question. If I say select star from Bollywood 2021, in this case, what I'm getting? I'm getting all the records available in the table Bollywood. Correct? Now, if I write a syntax here, where ID equal to 9, you can see here, who's the ID equal to 9? Sanju is a ID equal to 9. So in this case, what will happen? It is going to select only those records जहां पे ये कंडीशन ट्रू है. तो ये कंडीशन ट्रू कहां पे होगी? जहां पे ID 9 है. Simple here. So now here, if I execute Sanju 50, only one record has been selected. Correct? Why? Because we have given the where condition. Now, let's say I'm creating another table. Bollywood 2021 B. Okay. And here also, I am writing where ID equal to 9. In that case, if I execute, again I got a message table is created. Correct? Now here, if I say select star from Bollywood 2021B. Now you will see that यहाँ पे हमने where clause या condition नहीं दी है, मतलब इसके सारे रिकॉर्ड आने चाहिए, लेकिन यहाँ पे एक ही रिकॉर्ड आ रहा है. That means इस टेबल में टोटल कितने रिकॉर्ड्स हैं? Only the one. Why only one is copied? Because this statement has selected only the one record. Is it clear? Now, many times you have been asked that create a structure from existing table, but data should not get copied. Simple here. अब आपको बोला गया है कि आपको एक टेबल क्रिएट करना है, लेकिन डेटा कॉपी नहीं होना चाहिए. So, अब इतना तो समझ में आ गया कि जो भी कॉपी हो रहा है वो इस स्टेटमेंट की वजह से हो रहा है. करेक्ट. अब यहाँ पे एक नया टेबल क्रिएट करता हूं सी. करेक्ट. और वो सी में हमने यहाँ पे दिया आईडी इक्वल टू 1456 और समझ लीजिए कि ये आईडी हमारे पास टेबल में नहीं है. ये क्या रिकॉर्ड सिलेक्ट करेगा? If I executing this much only, it is going to select something, right? So what will be selected? No data found, क्योंकि ये वाली आईडी हमारे टेबल में नहीं है. तो अब इसको मैं एग्जीक्यूट करूंगा तो क्या होगा? टेबल क्रिएट होगा, लेकिन कोई भी रिकॉर्ड कॉपी नहीं होगा. रीजन इज दैट रिकॉर्ड वी do not have in our table. Correct? That record we do not have in our table. Simple. So this is how I can create a table, but data will not get copied. लेकिन यहाँ पे I know that ID 1456 is not available. But what if I have to copy a structure from the table in which I have a billions of records? So it will be a difficult thing for me to find out which records not available. So for that, we have to give a condition here, and that condition should be a false condition. For an example, I say 1 equal to 2. 1 equal to 2 is a true condition or a false condition? It's a false condition. Correct? So even if I execute this, I'm not getting any data. So simply if I use this for creating the table, structure will get created, but no record will get copied. Simple here. So this is simply, we can say that we can create a table in a two ways. One, fresh new table. Second, copying the table from the existing table, whether with data or specific data or no data. Simple. So simply, this is how we can create a table. So create table syntax. This is the first. What it is going to do? It is going to create a fresh new table with a customized structure. And this is the second syntax, which is going to create a duplicate table, but it is going to copy all existing record as well. Simple here. And there's a third one, which is going to create a table, or you can say only the structure will get created. No data will get copied. So simply we know that how to create a table. Simple here. So after creating a table, we are ready for next step. Now you can just see one thing. We are talking about a structure, not about the data till now. So the statement what we are using here is a DDL statement. Simple. Now, second thing is called the alter table. Now, what is an alter table? Alter table is nothing but you have to make any changes in existing structure is called as an alteration of table. Now, alteration can do the three things: adding the existing column, adding the new column, dropping the existing column, or modifying the existing column. These are the things which can be done with the help of SQL alter table statement. Simple? No. Syntax wise, it is also very simple. We have to do the three things: adding the column, dropping the column, or modifying the column. Now, syntax for that is alter table, table name. These keywords decides what you are doing. Add, adding the column, drop, dropping the column, modify is modifying the column. Now, add, simply what it does: add a column, alter, table, table name, add, new column name and its data type and size. Simple here. Same way for dropping: alter, table, table name, drop. But when you are using a drop, you have to choose a keyword column. Drop, column, column name. Very simple. Then modify. What's a modify? Modify means two things. One, changing the size and changing the data type. So out of these three, first two are simplest. You can add the column, you can drop the column. But for modifying, you have to keep certain thing in your mind. Modify simply means what? Changing the size and changing the data type. Correct? So when you are changing the data type, one thing to be remembered: if your table is empty, empty means no records are there in the table. In that case, you can change from any data type to any data type. But if your table contain the records, in that case, you can change only to the compatible data types. What do you mean by the compatible data types? A compatible data type is nothing but which is compatible to the existing data. For example, character. Char is also accepting the character. Varchar is also accepting that character. Time stamp is also accepting the date. Date is also accepting the date. Simple. So from character to character allowed. Date to date allowed. But number to character or character to number is not allowed. Simple. Now look at a one practical example for all three. Okay, here we have created a table student 2021. Okay, so let me remove all this first. Okay, now here, if I say select star from students 2021. What record I am getting? No data found. क्योंकि हमने फ्रेश टेबल क्रिएट किया है, इसमें अब तक कोई भी रिकॉर्ड इंसर्ट नहीं है. So now, first thing we want to add extra column. Let's say I want to store the contact also. So which we don't have. We have roll number, name, age, gender, DOB, but we don't have a contact. So how do I add it? Syntax wise, just now we have seen alter table, table name. What is our table name? This one. Now what we are doing? We are adding the column. So we will use a keyword add. After the add, you have to give a new column name. What is our new column name is? Contact. Now contact is nothing but a phone number. So it should be a numerical value. So I choose it here, number, and size 10. And now if I execute this, we got a message, table altered. Now let's describe the table. Students 2021. We have created the roll number, name, age, gender, and DOB. But here you can see we have a contact as well, because this contact has been added with alter table statement. Simple here. So now we have been added this thing. We can add n number of columns, but one column at a time. You cannot add multiple columns at the same time. Let's say I want to add their city as an address. Data type will be the varchar 2. Let's make it here 50. And let's say I want to add email as well. And I say varchar 2, 50. And I say the run. I got an error. This error is just because I'm trying to add 1 and 2 column at a time, which is not allowed. I have to just give a 1 column at a time. It is being added. Now if I check it out, you can see contact के बाद city we add हो गया. Very simple it was. Yes. Now after add, second thing is called as dropping the table, sorry, column. So if I want to drop a column, now for an example, in this, I don't concern about the city. Simple city nature. So I can remove the column city. What will be the syntax for that? Enter table name. Instead of add, we'll use a drop. Simple here. A drop column name. What is the column name? City. But with this drop, we have to use a keyword. alter table, table name, drop column, column name. Alter table, table name, drop column, column name. Now if we execute this, we got a message table altered. What has been happened? ये वाला कॉलम उस टेबल से ड्रॉप हो गया मतलब निकल गया. Now this is not the part of that table. If I describe it, contact के बाद city नहीं है. Clear? It's very simple. Now the third thing is called as modify. What is a modify? Modify is nothing but just changing the data type and the size. If your table is empty, you can change from any data type to any data type. Okay, let's understand with an example. Syntax will be the table and the table name. Now, instead of drop, we will use a keyword modify. Simple, alter table, table name, modify. Which table you want, or which column you want to modify? Use that column name. So let's say I want to modify the name. Current data type is varchar2. Can I change to number? It looks difficult, that character cannot be the number. But currently, our table does not contain any records. So you can change from any data type to any data type. Now, I see the number and 20. Table is altered. Now let's describe the table. Name has become the number. Can I change this number to the cat? Yes, because I can change from any data type to any data type. Now it has become the cat. Can I make it here 8? Now it's look a little bit awkward that name could not be a date, but date is a data type and it has been changed. Name has become the date. Let's come back to our same thing. What we had actually earlier is gap 2. Now, can I reduce the size? Yes, I can. I'm making it 15. Again, it has become the name varchar 215. Why it was so simple? The reason was that table was empty. Now do the same thing after inserting a record. Okay, so let's insert one record here. So we are having here as contact as well. So what we'll do here, I'll insert a record, insert into students 2021 values. Okay, so the first roll number I'm giving as a 1. Name, let's say the Mukesh. Age, let's say the 22. Gender M. What we have next? Date of birth and contact. Okay, so the date of birth, I don't know the date of birth, so I'll just keep it a blank. Nothing, no value I'm putting it here. Then contact. Contact also let's put the blank. Okay, so now I'm inserting the record. Okay, so now our table is not an empty table. It is containing a record of Mukesh. Simple here. Now let's do the same thing. Alter table, table name, modify name. Currently it's a varchar 2. Let's try to change to the number. Earlier, we have seen that it was done very easily. But this time, we got an error. That error is column to be changed must be empty. But it is not true because I cannot change to the number. But can I change it to the compatible data type? Yes, I can. What is a compatible data type? We earlier as a varchar 2 is accepting the character. Same way I can have a cat is also accepting the character. Correct? So now here, if I try to execute, accept it. Simple. Now, if I say again, varchar 2, first I'll show you it has been changed. Now name has become the cat. Can I make it again varchar 2? Yes, it has changed. Now if we check the record again, it is varchar 2. Now one question to you. If I say select star from student where roll number equal to 1, what record will be selected? Those records which is having a roll number 1. That is a Mukesh. Now instead of roll number, if I choose it here, name equal to Ramesh, sorry, Mukesh. What record should I get? I should get the same record of Mukesh, but unfortunately, I'm getting a result no data found. Mukesh is there, but I'm not getting the Mukesh record by checking with name. What's the reason? Simple. Understand what we have done. Pay attention here. So what we have done earlier, name was a varchar 2, size was 15. Correct? And we have inserted a record as Mukesh. Simple here. Then we have changed the name to cat 15. That time the Mukesh is the same. Again, we have changed the name to varchar 215. Correct? Still the name is the Mukesh. Then what the difference has created? So simply you can say that this was the varchar 2 is a variable length. So Mukesh is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 characters. So size was here 6. Again, it has become the char. It is a 6, but it is a fixed length. So here it is not a 6, it will be the 15 character. Correct? Now, how the 6 will become the 15? It cannot add additional thing, but it add the blank spaces. So it was a 6 plus how many spaces will be added? 9. So 6 actual character, 9 spaces has been added. But here, when we have changed it to varchar2 again, it will not remove the 9 spaces because space is a valid character for varchar2. So here it remained the 15, but as a 16 plus 9, sorry, it's 9. समझ में आ रहा है ये? Now let's check it out here. Now, if I'm executing this, I'm searching for how many characters? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But it is not 6 now. It is a 15. So it has added the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 spaces. So now it's a Mukesh up till here. And if I check the record, it is available. Simple here. So with this example, I hope that you have understood what's the difference between the char and varchar. Or you can say, what's the difference between the variable length and a fixed length. Simple. So this is simply called as altering the table. So in the alter, you can add, drop, modify. Let's come back here. So adding the column is clear, dropping the column is clear, and modifying the column is also clear. Next thing is called rename command. Is most important for the structure. I don't think you need to explain much, but what's the rename? Rename is nothing but it is used to change the name of the object. Used for changing the name of the object. Now we have a student 2021. I want to carry forward them as a name student 2022. So I have to change the name of the table. So we can change the name of the table with the help of rename command. Syntax is very simple. Rename old table name to new table name. That's called a rename command. Same way, you can use the rename statement for changing the column as well. But when you are using the rename statement for changing the column, you have to use alter table statement if you are using Oracle. But if you are using the SQL Server, you can directly rename a column with a rename statement. The syntax will remain the same, but that syntax will be along with a alter table statement when you are using a Oracle. And if it is a MS SQL or any other DB, you can use directly the rename statement. Simple. Same way you can rename the index, or in other words, rename statement can be used for renaming any of the object. Rename statement is used for renaming any of the object. After the rename, finally, it is a dropping the table. What is the meaning of the dropping the table? Dropping the table is nothing but it totally remove the table from the database. That's called as a dropping the table. Syntax wise, it is very simple. Drop table, table. Now let's take an example. Simple. Okay, we have created one table called as Bollywood 2021. Can we say we have this table in our database? But this we have created only for demonstration purpose. I don't want it again. So let's use it here. Drop. Drop table. Table name. Table name is Bollywood 2021. We got a message. Table is dropped. So now check the description again. Table is not available. It is totally removed from the database. So we can say that now we know how to create a table, alter the table, and drop the tables. So in this lecture, we can stop it here. We'll continue in our next lecture.